The 50/30/20 rule isn't just outdated. Following it in 2026 is essentially a slow-motion financial suicide. If you're still trying to shove your rent, energy bills, and rising food costs into that tiny 50% box, you're not bad at money, you're following a formula designed to keep you broke. Today, we're burning the rule book. Here is a number that should make you angry. In the last 3 years, prices in this country have risen by more than 20%. Not your salary, prices, which means if you got a generous 5% pay rise last year, you didn't get a raise at all. You got a pay cut with extra paperwork. You've probably heard of the 50/30/20 rule. 50% on needs, 30% on wants, 20% on savings. It's the budgeting advice your parents gave you, your bank's app gives you, and every personal finance for beginners video gives you. It's also, for most people watching this, mathematically impossible. If your rent or mortgage alone eats 50% of your take-home pay, and in most UK cities right now, it does, the rule hasn't just bent, it's broken. You're not failing at budgeting, you're trying to follow a formula written for a completely different economy. That formula assumed housing was affordable, energy was cheap, and inflation was a ghost of the past. That world doesn't exist anymore. So today, we're not tweaking the 50/30/20 rule, we're replacing it. By the end of this video, you'll have a framework built for how the economy actually works right now, and a system to automate your way out of the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle. 61. The 50/30/20 rule was popularized back when housing, energy, and groceries sat in a completely different relationship to average wages. Back then, 50% on needs was a reasonable ask. Today, essentials have inflated faster than income for the vast majority of middle-class earners. None of these price hikes feel catastrophic on their own. A few extra pounds on the weekly shop, a slight increase in your energy direct debit, a remortgage that lands at a higher rate. But stacked together, year after year, they quietly swallow the needs category whole, and then start eating into the wants category too. This is why you feel like you're running on a treadmill that's constantly speeding up, even though you're working harder than ever. But there's a second problem, and it's got nothing to do with inflation. It's the psychological trap of lifestyle creep. You get a pay rise, and for a month, it feels like free cash. So you upgrade your gym membership, your flat, or your food delivery. Each decision feels reasonable in the moment, but your baseline of normal spending quietly resets upward. And it never resets back down. You know that feeling. When your salary hits, you pay the rent, you clear the credit card, and suddenly the month feels fine. So you decide to grab that takeaway, or upgrade that subscription. It's only £30, right? But that £30 wasn't a choice, it was a surrender. And that is exactly where your freedom goes to die. We fall into this trap because we treat budgeting as a game of willpower. We think we can be good for 30 days, but willpower is a depleting resource. You can win the battle against the coffee shop for a week, but you will eventually lose the war against yourself. The fix isn't more willpower. The fix is removing the decision entirely. We are moving from budgeting, which is defensive, to allocation, which is offensive. We call this the 3-layer wealth stack. Layer 1. Pay yourself first. The moment your salary lands, before a single bill is paid, a fixed amount must move out of your current account automatically. Not whatever's left at the end of the month, automatically, on payday, before you can see it, spend it, or talk yourself out of it. If you have to decide to save every month, you will eventually decide not to. For UK viewers, this means splitting the automation into 2 destinations: A stocks and shares ISA invested into a low-cost, globally diversified index fund. and a high-yield, easy-access savings account for your emergency fund. Your Fortress Fund, a globally diversified index fund, is critical here because it allows you to own a slice of thousands of companies worldwide, effectively betting on the global economy to keep growing. Rather than gambling on a single stock, you are not saving whatever's left over. You are investing first and living on the remainder. Layer 2, fixed costs. Your essentials, rent, utilities, insurance still need paying. But this layer isn't passive. Once a year, at minimum, these should be actively renegotiated. Shop around for insurance rather than auto-renewing. Check your energy tariff and review subscriptions that renewed at a higher price. Providers rely on your inertia. They bet that you won't take the 10 minutes to call them or switch providers. Breaking that inertia can shrink this layer significantly without touching your actual quality of life. Layer 3, everything else. Whatever remains after the first two layers is yours to spend without guilt. Dining out, holidays, hobbies, whatever adds value to your life. This is a deliberate design choice, not an oversight. A framework that demands permanent deprivation will eventually be abandoned. But because your investing and saving already happened automatically in Layer 1, every pound in Layer 3 is genuinely spendable. You aren't sabotaging your future by enjoying your present. You are operating from a place of abundance, not restriction. The entire framework hinges on automation. Set up standing orders timed to your payday so the money moves before you've even opened your banking app. Review this framework every 6 months. If your income increases, don't increase your Layer 3 spending immediately. Redirect that surplus into Layer 1. This isn't a stricter version of budgeting. It's the removal of budgeting as a daily willpower exercise. The 50-30-20 rule asks you to categorize spending after the fact and hope discipline fills the gap. The Wealth Ledger framework removes that gap by acting before spending happens at all. Think of it like a filtration system. A diet requires you to resist temptation at every single meal, forever. A filtration system simply removes the impurity before the water ever reaches the glass. Layer 1 is your filter. Everything else downstream takes care of itself. The 50-30-20 rule was designed for a different world. We are operating in 2026. You cannot win a modern game with an obsolete playbook. By reordering the sequence, invest first, optimize fixed costs annually, and enjoy the rest guilt-free. You move from managing your scarcity to engineering your wealth. If you're ready to stop playing defense and start building actual wealth, hit the subscribe button. Next week, I'm dropping the ultimate guide to picking your first index fund, the one that actually beats the UK inflation rate. If you don't want to leave thousands of pounds on the table over the next decade, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. Let's build your ledger. I'll see you in the next one.